this Fantasia. Water system. We could imagine there are many pools like this deeper into the underworks.
Nice work, Brynn. Arik, think that'll give the scouts some breathing room?
Absolutely. Can't automate it. Thrilled. I'll meet you at Cassidon's hold so we can deliver the good news.
So, Norians.
I've been digging. The Tarzan trading company that shipped the crates you found was the lead I needed. The Norians were experts in water storage and conveyance, and active before the surge, but disappeared shortly thereafter. Or rather, they wanted to disappear and subsumed their identities into a series of careful fronts, cover names, and the like. Thankfully, the trade record you found led to a whole web of associations, many of whom have had dealings with my family.
How did you get logs of your own family's accounts, anyway?
I stole them.
Really?
Oh yes, detailed transactions from private ledgers. No one quite sure if you made copies or where they're hidden if you did. Better than bodyguards when it comes to ensuring one's safety. I did not leave my family under the best auspicious.
Do you have any idea why they decided to hide?
Purely conjecture, but let's look at the evidence. We know from Sev's ring that the Norians are still around today.
It could be a trinket, or hand-me-down. But you're right that his behavior with the eye suggests they're associated.
Exactly. Now consider the Order's secretive nature. Combined, I would speculate that the Norians used the Surge as leverage to become a power behind the thrones. Take a nation that used magic to keep the water flowing, face it with disaster and drought. What kind of deals might a group of desperate rulers be willing to make, do you think?
But monarchs wouldn't want anything that undercuts their authority or power to slip out to the populace.
As I said, pure conjecture, but if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck...
How is the Norian Order related to Tarza?
As I'm sure you know, Tarza is an amalgam of numerous desert kingdoms. Before the Surge, Tarza had grown reliant on the same weather control enchantments that were used in Judea. After the Surge, both nations suffered greatly. Tarza in particular was struck with savage droughts.
Meaning folks Like the Norians, who specialize in water, had essential skills and knowledge.
I expect they were critical in keeping Tarza's many cities alive at all. A position that would afford them considerable influence.
What did you find out about the Norians before the Surge?
They seemed a somewhat innocuous guild of specialists, traded under different names even then, making them a bit hard to track. But as far as I could tell, they mostly dealt in water.
Dealt, meaning what in this context?
Aqueducts, reservoirs, wells, you name it. If it stored, gathered, extracted, or moved water, they were involved.
That explains the complicated valve I found underground.
Absolutely. They had specialized knowledge, which I assume is why the Enclave contracted them. Gas, such as raw magic, is a fluid after all.
Knowing what we know now, what do we do about Sev?
I believe we can say for sure that he and the Eye are somehow related through this Norian organization. From Sev's visits to the Hold, I imagine they're working together on something, but I'm not sure exactly what else to do with that information.
I gave Sev some help collecting materials. He's definitely working on some kind of project. He asked me to trust him. Maybe it's time to ask for that favor in return.
A good idea. Speak to Sola first, though. I've updated her, and she might have some ideas on how best to confront him.
Thanks for your help, Lane.
It's no trouble at all. This is what I do, and I rather enjoy it.
Sev. What are we going to do with you?
You know him better than me. Can we trust him?
I hope so. But it's pretty obvious Sev is being pressured by the Eye due to their Norian connection. And I do not trust him. Anyway, what did you learn from helping Sev?
He's either constructing or repairing something that requires exotic materials.
As I said, it reminded me of how he fixed the gate in the Hollow. I would wager the Eye heard about our exploits.
Could be.
He's a clever one, our Ram. There's really only one thing for it.
Direct confrontation.
We're going to let him know we care. Then we're going to let him sit with it. Wait for me in the hole. We'll talk to him there. Away from the others. So he doesn't feel like we're ganging up on him.
If you're interrupting my petition reading time, I hope you're bringing me some good news.
Nothing but. The way's clear for the scouts to start retrieving those supplies.
Anything to add, Arakim?
I'm shaken to my core by the revelation that one can achieve things without forms signed in triplicate.
Interesting. I won't argue with success. Especially when it keeps our people going. Brynn, since you've proven yourself useful, I've considered the ways in which you can assist us further. We'll need Isla's help for this next step, though.
Oh, we're all on a first-name basis with her, are we?
I should hope so, yes.
I actually just finished helping her with something. Shall we go fetch her?
Oh, yes, let's do that.
I need to go make a report to my scouts, but I owe you a drink for sure.
I'll hold you to that.
Please tell me you've got a distraction for me.
Are you all right, Isla?
I'm just, a little tired, is all. Between powering an arc by myself and confronting my father on the same day. Even as a previous High Enchantress, it took a lot out of me. I'm still working my way through it. And I need to figure out an independent power source for the arc. It's too much to think about.
I'm sorry. Should we do this another time?
No. Please. I need distractions. Or I might be tempted to set the hold ablaze.
Fair enough. What have you got for us, Karnatame?
An issue we faced in the early days of their appearance, and are now facing once again, is the ability of the Surgeborn to navigate the Enclave. Put simply, they are using our Loomgate network to traverse great distances in an instant. We can't let that stand. I'm only familiar with the Loomgate's design through my parents' work on them. But Brynn recently helped us access a supply cache in the Institute, and we found something that could help. A set of schematics for a device to block the Surgeborn from using the Loomgates while keeping them accessible to us.
A way to filter out the Surgeborn without endangering Weavers. How can I help?
Well, they're incomplete, and I was hoping you could tell us what's missing. Here, take a look.
Let's see... A resonance modulator.
Brynn, while she looks over the schematics, do you have any questions?
Why didn't they finish the schematic?
My understanding is that at that time, our bureaucracy was growing to the point of being rather unwieldy. I still grapple with the remnants of that bureaucracy every day, so I can imagine that whoever was working on these schematics... Let's just say that they were probably told to submit it to a committee before proceeding with the design.
Even though it was urgent and would have saved hundreds of lives?
For some people, propriety dictates priority. That's my guess, anyway. And, for the record, much of my life's work has been in service of streamlining that kind of bureaucracy. We cannot risk following the same path that led us to ruin.
Where's this device going once we finish building it?
The resonance modulator should connect directly to the harness. You've already been there.
Returning to the scene of the crime. Why there?
The harness acts as a central nexus that controls not just Asylum, but our Loomgates and all of the Enclave's transit points. Hence, why you were able to use it to open up the underworks in the first place.
At least I can't unleash the Surgeborn a second time.
Small mercies.
How do we know that this modulator will work?
Whoever designed this clearly knew what they were doing. It's beautiful, elegant work.
I'll say. It feels... familiar, almost. I can't quite put my finger on it.
We could check through the rest of the paperwork, see if we can find out who the author is, if you'd like.
Yes. I'd love to.
I've had enough. The sooner we get this modulator built, the sooner we can secure the loom gates. I'm assuming you'll be the one to build this. What do I need to bring you?
To be frank, considering all your Weaver Band's achieved since you arrived, it's clear to me that you brought with you an expertise that we did not retain through the dark days of the Surge. With that in mind, I would love to leave this in your smith's capable hands. She must have had a world-class mentor.
She's primarily self-taught, actually. But I'll pass on the compliment. She'll be thrilled to hear it.
That's astonishing. Let's go through what's needed then. For the body of the device, you'll just need some calm steel. But the rest... Do you have any preliminary thoughts, Isla?
Yes. Like you said, it's amazingly simple. What's missing from the schematics is the part that allows us to calibrate it. But it's clear in my mind what the finished design should look like. Give me a moment. There. It's like the design itself wanted me or someone to finish it. To calibrate it, we'll need some representative samples of Surgeborn. Let's say husk and huskhound fur. Get plenty of both.
And then I take the finished resonance modulator to the harness.
Exactly.
It should be pretty obvious where to place it, too. You'll know, if you do it right.
Gotcha. Time to hunt a few Surgeborn.
Hello, Sebastian.
Sola. Brynn. Hello?
Hey. Listen, we just have something to say. Shh. You're good. Just listen for a second, okay? We know the Eye has you working on some project. We know you two have some kind of connection, and we want you to know it's okay.
Look, Sev. I know the Eye has fancier robes than us, a nicer place, and you can't question his taste in jewelry. But we've got Moxie. Casmin cooks a mean stew, and you really can't discount the importance of a hearty meal. You're always welcome around our campfire, is what I'm saying.
Exactly. Anytime you need to talk, apprentice of mine, you know where we are. And we'll listen.
I don't know what to say.
You'll know when it's time. We'll see you at camp, okay?
Yes. Thank you.
Ever since we learned of the verdant mines, I haven't been able to stop thinking about them. They were clearly well-resourced in regards to both labor power and knowledge. And they had an extremely intimate knowledge of the Enclave's technology. But do you know who was around to see their rise and fall, but hasn't spoken a word about it.
Cassidon's Hold's biggest ass?
The very same. I just think it's interesting how he's kept quiet about it. Don't you?
I don't expect much from him.
I don't know if he was involved with the events surrounding the Verdant Mind's attempt to take down the Veil, but he certainly bore witness.
So what are you thinking?
I'd like to send you out on a fact-finding mission for now. Meanwhile, I'll pore over my existing research for clues.
Gotcha. I'll be back when I found everything you're after.
Thanks, Brynn. I'll get to work here, too.
Well, that did something. I should go check with the axle that it worked. Hope I'm not interrupting anything with her and the spindle.
Before what happened at the Grand Gate, you said you needed some help.
I was hoping you could help me with an investigation. I'm looking for some missing scries.
Have you lost yours somehow?
No, but I have a lead on a shipment that went missing right around the surge. I was hoping you could ask around the Hearthsider homesteads to see if anyone was working the caravans when the veil went up.
Ah, and this is related to Arakim making a mess of our records, I assume.
Yes?
Very well. I will ask around as a favor to you, Brynn. So the curves of the metal suggest...
I definitely think an enchanter had a hand in this, as well as someone with intimate knowledge of the loom gates.
Those two people could possibly be one person even. Though I can't fathom who it would be.
Keeping yourselves busy, I see?
It's a conundrum for the ages, that's for sure.
Ah, Brynn. You're back.
You've done amazing work with the resonance modulator. I'm certain this will be a turning point for us.
Thanks. But how do you know it worked?
The loom gate started glowing a strange color before you arrived. I took it as a hint that you'd succeeded.
Spoiled the surprise.
I'm sure the Surgeborn will be plenty surprised when they next try to use the loom gates.
Suffice to say, we're thrilled, Brynn. In a short time, you've done a lot to help us. We were, obviously, a little hesitant to trust newcomers.
Our first impression wasn't the best.
But now, we're in a much better situation when it comes to survival.
Happy to have helped. Without you two trusting me, I couldn't have achieved half as much. So, thank you for letting me in. I'm glad to have gotten to know both of you.
It's been my pleasure, Brynn.
Likewise.
So, let's recap for a moment. 1. We've stopped Surgeborn from navigating the Loomgate network by using the resonance modulator. 2. We've made huge leaps forward in regaining control over the Arcs. 3. We've armed and supplied the Scouts.
It certainly doesn't cast our last decade of work in a forgiving light, does it?
Listen, you've been surviving this crisis for a long time the only way you knew how. But now you have a path to move forward. Your people can choose to follow it, or dwell on past mistakes. Are we ready to face this threat head-on together?
Yes. You're right. Of course you are. We're at the point, resource-wise, where we can start making moves.
I don't really want to speak to my father right now. But I agree that it's time we put pressure on him to do something. Anything. Regardless of what he does, you've earned our support, Brynn. But first, I'd actually like to steal Hirun for a while, if you don't mind. I have some notes to go over with her.
By all means, have fun.
I suppose I'll just get right to it. Why do you treat me differently?
What do you mean?
Everyone else gets the stern you, the you who's in charge, the Axel. But I get the friendly face, the compliance, this you who I don't understand. Is it because of my dad? Because everyone answers to him? Are you trying to get close to him through me? I can't handle it, Hirun. I need to know that I'm not just being manipulated by everyone around me.
It's not because of that.
Then... what is it?
I spend time around you because I want to. To see you, to speak with you, to work alongside you. To see the look in your eyes when you solve a problem. Skies, I shouldn't... None of this is... If we could find somewhere else, beyond the gaze of the hold...
Hirun. Stop. Take my hand. And we'll go. I have a place in mind. I didn't see it before, but... I think... I would like to tell you of the ways in which you are important to me, too.
What's going on?
Arik, why don't you fill her in?
Our plan worked. The Eye is mobilizing the Scouts for a large-scale attack on the Surgeborn.
I take it the Axel and the Spindle put him up to this?
Yes. Not that Khan Stanild is admitting that. He claims that with the supply shortage taken care of and the Ark restoration underway, now is the time to strike.
And Brynn is receiving due credit for all her work, I'm sure.
No.
So what's his plan?
The Scouts will stage a distraction in the underworks, while the Eye and the Spindle do something to the Grand Gate. That's all I know. The Eye wants everyone to convene at Cassidon's Hold for a speech to learn more.
He wants us there.
Khan Stanild loves an audience. Doesn't matter who's in it.
I thought you'd be happier about all this.
I have reservations about the Eye launching a plan using my Scouts without consulting me.
The reality is, the leader of the Enclave has the power and influence we need to take a stand against the Surgeborn. Regardless of how likable the man holding the title may be.
Power and influence, sure. But not the expertise.
Ori is right. Whatever flaws the Eye has, he is ultimately doing what we've wanted him to do. If he wants to atone, we should give him that opportunity, even when it pains us.
It can't hurt to hear his big speech before jumping to conclusions.
I'm here to escort you. Talk to me when you're ready.
I think we can call that as close as we're going to get.
I agree. Good news, Arik. It's likely your caravan didn't leave.
You're sure?
Reasonably. We know which caravan was carrying a sealed case of two scries from the Keep records.
There's no log of it departing, and the logs were quite consistent, up to the surge.
And the Axel had several older drovers who told stories of caravans that lost control of their beasts in the panic. More than a few, sadly, pitched their entire caravan into the newly formed fissure in the lower city.
The runners would have recovered anything that important years ago were it still by the gate.
Suggesting the scries might have gone over the edge. Brynn, I hate to ask, but
I can take a look. Absolutely.
just be careful. The tangles get thick down there.
Sword and horn. Don't forget to block.
Ready to head to Cassidan's Hold?
As ready as I'll ever be.
Great. Hey, while it's just the two of us, I'll be deploying to the Underworks almost immediately after we arrive. Watch Khan Stanold for me, will you? I know Oriel wants you to give him a chance, but he can't be trusted.
I'm always ready for anything, Eric.
I know. Let's move.
Decades of caution have been rewarded, friends. For this moment, and not one sooner, is the precise time to strike. Today, we wrangle our lands free from the Surgeborn's grasp and reclaim our hearth once more. Whatever it takes. None of this could be possible without the esteemed prowess of the Spindle. Her work on the Arcs has laid the foundation for my plan. She and I will proceed to the Grand Gate at once. Scouts, you have your orders. It's time. Whatever it takes.
Brynn, you need to come with me.
Now?
Yeah, no time to explain. And Aurea, you should get on the scry.
All right. Whatever you need.
Let's go. Sev, I know you said there's no time to explain, but want to give me a clue as to where we're going?
So, obviously I've been working with the Eye. And well, he had me repair the Grand Gate. It's connected to this place called the Source, and I guess that's where the Surgeborn came from. He's got this plan to go there and solve this problem once and for all.
Right. I heard that part of his speech already. What does this have to do with us sprinting like an Ash Peak Drake is on our heels?
So there's, it's better if I just show you.
Perfect. As punctual as you are daring.
Sev, what's going on?
I don't know.
Oh, don't blame him. He's merely a puppet. Ironic, given I'm the one all tangled up.
So you can talk?
which could allow me to prey upon Kenrick's exquisite inadequacies.
You've been talking to the Eye? Manipulating him?
Into a foolhardy and preposterous plan that only an absolute imbecile could think was worth pursuing, yes. I've been down here for years, laying groundwork and learning what I could about your people. All towards a moment when I could convince Kenrick to act. I almost despaired he ever would. And then, along comes you.
Me?
Oh yes. Kenrick is threatened by you. Terrified, even. In your brief time inside the Veil, you've accomplished so much more than he has in decades. Not that that's saying much. Still, you are the perfect catalyst for change. We have that in common, as you will discover in time. So now, he's going to open a gate to the heart of the Enclave, convinced he can recover it from us. And the one person I worry might be able to stop us is here, talking to me. You're fast, but even you can't run to the rescue now.
You've thought of everything. Except, why tell me all this?
Because you're too late to stop us. And even if you weren't, no one would believe you.
Sure. Unless they were listening.
Quit taunting it, Brynn. You've got work to do.
We must retreat!
No! I'm staying to fix this. Do whatever you can to buy me time. Brynn is seriously about to fight that thing.
The spindle told her to buy time.
Let's hope Ida doesn't take too long.
keep going for much longer.
She needs to.
She can't be. No.
What? What's she doing?
Hopefully not what I think she is.
Whatever it takes.
Spirits. Okay. Weavers have always dealt with problems like this. Well, not just like this, but yeah. We'll figure it out. Aurea, she'll know what to do.
This one strikes a good balance.
Hey,
Hey,
how do you feel?
okay now, but it was touch and go for a while. Lane will probably never forgive me. For that matter, I might not either.
I knew that fight. The spindle, giving her life like that. It'd be on your mind all night. How could it not? And I've been mulling over what to tell you this morning. I had a speech planned, but you don't need a speech. You're like me. It'd ring false. So you did good. It was an awful situation, but you stood up and did what needed to be done without hesitating. Not many people have that kind of grit.
You're right. I think that was what I needed to hear. Thanks, Aurea.
You deserve it. You've come so far in here. We've all had to adapt, but you more than anyone. Look, I know you, Brynn. You're made of stern stuff. You've the mountains in your bones. Any sense of doubt or being shaken is just snowfall. Temporary, and it'll slide off soon.
That was the part you practiced, right?
Yes. But that doesn't make it less true.
Okay. Okay. Thoughts on what we do next? We obviously need to deal with that beast. But where to start?
We need to get everyone together. Our band, Arakim too. And I want you to call the meeting.
Me?
Yes, you.
I know everyone's up in their heads right now, but we have real problems to solve. So let's clear the air.
Are you running this discussion, then?
She is.
Sev, this has to start with you. We knew you were working with the Eye. We told you we'd have your back. Help us understand what happened. Just breathe, Sev. Start from the beginning.
I'm sure Brynn and Solar told you all. But I belong to an order called the Norians. We're sometimes called the Watersmiths. Imagine my surprise to learn our talents had been critical to the construction of the tapestry. Our order binds us to always help another Norian. Especially a high-ranking one like Stanild. And to keep their secrets.
So that's how he sunk his claws into you.
Did you leave the Norians to become Solar's apprentice?
One never really leaves the Norians. Not with their life. If word got out about me betraying Stanild, I'd be a dead ram walking. But no. My people have a ritual known as Ram Bralem. It is a time to pursue another path. And Solar was kind enough to accept me for mine.
It's true. I knew it could be temporary, but was hoping you'd stay on after.
What did Stanild have you doing?
It was all work on repairing the Grand Gate. He'd heard about our success with the gate in the Hollow and felt I might be able to replicate it. Thanks to your help, I was able to do so. And he took me more into his confidence as a result.
Why is the Order so secretive?
We've always been critical to the survival of Taza. Water is life in the desert, and we control the flow of water. The Elders have a secret political chokehold on the kingdoms. The altruistic Norians will tell you the secrecy is so no one can undo our work. But I have my doubts. And so, the Order operates in the shadows. I imagine they were much the same here in the Enclave.
The most important thing is whether we can trust you.
Yes, Sev. Convince us.
I swear, nothing I did was intended to cause harm. Too many of my Order are political animals. But there is real good to be found among the Norians. Craftspeople who just wish to perfect their art. To bring water to people in need. To experiment, but need the resources to do so. Unfortunately, too many of those resources are controlled by people like the... They're all the same. They see a point of control. Water, information, wealth. And they abuse it. I thought the secrets were a necessary evil, for some great purpose, but seeing his chokehold on the Enclave, it's stagnation. You all have every right to distrust me. I am sorry. No more secrets. I just can't do it anymore.
If you can't be a Norian, then what are you?
If you'd have me, I'd like to stay.
Those of us who have been here longer than Sev. Thoughts?
He's a great apprentice. And did what was right in the end.
Still wasn't quick enough.
We need him. He's been exposed to Kenric Stanhold's plans, and that knowledge may be critical.
We've all had a very tough time since we came through the Veil. I would have grabbed for some kind of normalcy or order, too.
You are all heard. And I would add that you joined us under false pretenses, Sev. You had loyalties outside the band you never disclosed.
I have a hard time accepting that he kept so much from us, but shared so much with the Eye. Who knows what Stanild, or gods help us, the Talon heard about us? Only time will tell how much damage that's done.
Lane, I hear you and I understand. Sev has real work to do to rebuild trust. Only you can decide when the apology feels real to you. Sev, that considered, you have worked tirelessly since joining us, and demonstrated an enterprising spirit and deftness as a smith. And before the blade could completely fall, you risked all by blocking it with your own hand. You can never be a Norian again. I do not sense that you wish to be. And who are the Weavers but a group of outcasts and misfits, just trying to muddle through together? You will stay, and you will help. We have work to do. Tell us about Stanild's plan.
Thank you, Horia.
I'm sure we all have things we want to say, to Sev and each other. But that can wait. Right now, while we're all here together, we need to focus on next steps. But here's our challenge. That Talon. It spoke. It knew things it couldn't know about us. We're on the back foot and need to catch up fast.
Then let me, as Horia said, help. After I repaired the gate, Stanild took me completely into his confidence. He'd been questioning and learning from the Talon. Or so he thought.
Not realizing he was being manipulated.
He was increasingly estranged from his daughter. I'd wager he was desperate for a friend.
I'd agree. Based on what he'd learned from the Surgeborn from his friend, he put together a plan.
Use my people as a distraction to pull the bulk of the Surgeborn out of the Underworks. All while he used the gate to What?
There is a place, deep, deep underground, known as the Source. A feat of engineering unparalleled. It's the secret to the Enclave's power. The abundance of magic. The heart of the tapestry. The thing powering the Veil. There was only a single loom gate still connected to the Source after Asylum cleared all connections. And I'm the one who repaired it.
The Grand Gate would take him right to the heart of things, then.
Exactly.
Staneld thought he could... what? Sneak down there and fix things somehow? Tear down the Veil?
His hope was to go down and secure a working space, sealed off from the distracted Surgeborn. He wanted to eventually fix things with the help of the Spindle. All glory to his family.
That arrogant idiot.
He'd read in his personal archives there was a system designed to shut down the Source. In the hopes of discovering how it worked, he had been feeding information to the Spindle about it in drips.
Meaning she might have been working on a fix for the Source without knowing it.
Then we have to pursue her research, clearly.
Good. But we still have the problem Staneld never saw coming. A great Surgeborn.
Which almost certainly will be unkillable if it operates like every other Surgeborn. It's hard to imagine any place more full of tangles than the literal source of the magic that's overflowing.
On that, I have an idea. If I'm right, we might be able to turn the tables and remove its advantage. I'll need Brynn's help if that's all right with everyone.
Of course. If it gives us a chance, we have to take it.
I agree.
Has anyone just thought to ask the Talon?
What would we ask it? Favorite color? Favorite way to disembowel Ashar?
No, she's right. It has clearly demonstrated an interest in Brynn. Maybe she could pry some information out of it.
I'm not sure I'll get much. But I'm also sure I'm not going to think it's my friend. So, worth exploring?
Then we have a path forward. Sev will pursue his thoughts on dealing with that beast.
My people have started calling it the Herald.
Of destruction? Doom?
Why not both? As I said, people are on edge.
Fine. Sev pursues weakening this herald. We work with the Axle to look into the Spindle's latest research. And if she feels like it, Brynn has a chat with our imprisoned Surgeborn.
As good a path forward as we are going to find. Let's call it here and get to work.
Isla sacrificed everything for us.
Still can't believe she's gone.
Her death could have been...
Brynn, I examined the wreckage at the Grand Gate after everything that...
Found something useful?
The kinetic strand, in fact. The Ark must have torn it from the Herald's pattern in the chaos of the battle.
Think we could weave it into my mantle?
I don't see why not. Its pattern appears to be quite similar to those found on wild creatures and Archons.
All right. We need every advantage.
Then let's get to work. And we're finished. This will be quite the powerful addition to your mantle.
How so?
This strand can twist kinetic magic into a tunnel. In battle, you could push debris or enemies through it and send them flying through the air quite forcefully.
Could I jump through it?
I suppose you could.
Hey, there's a lot of tall buildings, flying creatures. This is going to be great.
You're right. Just try to be careful.
appreciated your candor in the meeting, Sev.
It was terrifying. Wasn't sure I'd be allowed to stay. You didn't get to voice an opinion with the others. Are we?
I'm not upset with you. If anything, cautiously certain that what you did was for the right reasons. You'll need to keep proving yourself, of course. But in the end, you came through.
I knew something was wrong the moment that thing started talking to me when Stanild wasn't around. It was very focused on you.
Me?
So much so that it said the only way the plan would succeed was if you talked to it. It reeked of trap. I didn't survive a decade around Tarzan Norians without picking up when someone's holding a knife behind their smile.
But you still took me down there.
Sorry. An educated risk. I felt there was nothing it could do and wanted the whole band to hear it talk. I don't think it understood we have the scry.
And Stanild wouldn't use one, of course.
The Talon was his deepest secret. Whom would he tell?
Can you tell me more about Stanild's plans for once he went through the Grand Gate?
He was counting on Isla. She was exceptional at protective fields. But even then, no. I don't think he had a real plan. The Talon had convinced him he'd be able to survive, and fool that he was, he trusted it. We can't afford that mistake. But I have a theory. You know how the weather sometimes skews wildly hot and cold?
Right. The aeroliths.
What else do we see on similar cycles?
Miasma.
Exactly. So, it follows.
You think the aeroliths are able to affect raw magic somehow?
I do. And in Stanild's private records and designs. I found notes, specifically on aeroliths with Norian commentary.
You think the Norians were involved in their creation?
It would certainly explain why Tarza had such access to aeroliths before the Surge. If I'm right, this might be the key to making the source survivable.
Fewer tangles means less dead me. Absolutely. Where do we start?
You'll need to head to the Watersmith area of the Institute, and I'll guide you from there.
Should be close to where the scry-carrying caravan might have gone over the edge.
I'll have a look.
See those massive pipes running along the roof? Norian design. I recognized them earlier, and they prompted my investigation into the Norians and the Enclave.
Confirming your findings that the Norians were heavily involved in the tapestry.
This should be the place, Brynn. You're looking for tablets with a circle marked by 6 dots. They'll look blank, but I'll be able to read them when you bring them back.
You're full of useful secrets, Sev.
That's one of them, Brynn. I hope they would still be down here.
What should we expect?
The Norians were experimenting without informing the Enclave on the aeroliths. They wanted them to do more than just moderate the weather. They wanted to control it.
They got tired of long winters? Gloomy days?
Think bigger. You control the rain in a desert. You control the land itself. us to piece their research together, Brynn.
Will I be learning how Norians hide their information, Sev?
Yes. And if word gets out, we're both going to be hunted.
The best knowledge is always dangerous. I shouldn't be surprised the Norians use a fluid to conceal their secrets. It's ingenious, really. An acid of sorts that can etch the writing into the metal invisibly. And when you apply another compound, it oxidizes. It's like a legible rust, and yet, after you're done, you can just wipe it clean and it flakes off.
Medium aside, what did we learn?
As Sev expected, research on the aeroliths. It's a bit outside my speciality, so I passed it to Dharm.
And how are we feeling about Sev's revelations?
It's not like I've never kept things from my friends, and I generally keep them from my family, so I empathize. But I don't keep them from the band. Anyway, Dharm's waiting.
Lane said I should talk to you about the plates we found for Sev.
Perhaps you could walk with me?
Sure.
I have already passed my notes on. This conversation isn't about them. I wanted to ask how you're doing with regards to Sev.
I feel for him. He's had to struggle with divided loyalties and had no one to lean on. Hiding that kind of strain can't have been easy. How lonely to carry that without help.
I agree. Our friend has been suffering in silence. You are kind to think of him first. But please don't forget, you are the one out there with her life on the line. You have your struggles too. There is a Brynn out there who wasn't deceived by a friend. Wasn't forced into the role of point so early, for that matter.
I promise you, I'm okay. But thank you for taking this moment.
Ultimately, I will say this. There was a time in my life I walked away from everything I held most important. Sev is handling it better than I did. He's not angry or bitter, he's just working through the problem. It's kind of you to help him. I'm sure he appreciates it more than he'll ever be able to say. So I'm saying it for him. Sev already has my notes. Good luck in your endeavors.
Exciting news, Brynn.
You figured out how to clear the source?
Nothing quite that far along, but we are a step closer. As I suspected, the Norians were doing experiments not even Enclave leadership knew about. Not to just stabilize the weather, but directly control its extremes.
Which is pretty much what we're seeing the aeroliths do, here and now.
I honestly think that these experiments, left unattended, are the direct cause of the wild temperature changes. Likely contributed to the floods as well, though I suspect Asylum was the larger cause there. Regardless, if I can pick up where their research left off, we might have a solution to our problem at the source.
What did the Norians stand to gain controlling the weather anyway?
Their power base has always been in Tarza, where the deserts need water to grow. Imagine being able to withhold rain or worsen heat at a whim. What kind of power would that give you? The kind the worst parts of the Order crave.
If we succeed, will we be able to stop the weather fluctuations entirely?
I hope so, in time. But the system has been out of control for years. For now, I want to focus on our immediate problem of the Source and the Surgeborn.
Did your research say anything about miasma and tangles?
No. Those phenomena are too new to be in the records you recovered, which are pre-Surge.
What will it take to move from might have a solution to definitely have a solution for the Source?
The research you recovered focused on using patterns from creatures with natural flame and frost affinity. It used those patterns to briefly augment one part of the enchantments woven into an aerolith.
Use flame magic to tilt the aerolith hotter for a time?
Yes, exactly. And they had some success with it, proving the methods viable.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but too bad there aren't miasma creatures.
There's one, and Dharm already managed to recover some of its pattern.
But not enough?
No. But it is a basis for my theory. And I think there's a way to recover patterns that could still influence miasma. What we need is to test against a complete set of exquisite resonances. One each of frost, flame, and kinetic. Any creature will do, however. Arcs, wild creatures, it doesn't matter. They've all lived through decades of this growing miasma cycle. We're going to combine them with the Norians' notes and Dharm's studies of the Herald to build a device to influence the aeroliths. I gave the design to Sola. She said it should be doable, but wants your approval on which materials to use.
If this could pull miasma out of the Source somehow, sign me up.
It's the most promising lead I have. And it's very promising indeed.